Okay, here's the second part, the last part of part one. The last section of part one. Okay, so what we're doing here now is we're coming in and we're doing this value. See this one? It's the next to the darkest here on the face. And there's just a tiny bit of it on the hands. There's not much. Here and here. Yeah, there's just a little bit. Okay, so what I did, because I got a little sloppy, so I really don't have the shapes right on his face. He looks human, sort of, but he doesn't look like this human. So I decided that this time I would pre-draw some of these lines. And it's still not all that accurate, but it's a little bit better because I wanted it to be, well, look a little more like him. Now, when you look at this eye looks really strange. I went ahead and darkened this eye, and it also sort of runs into this lower lid here. It probably reads as one shape at a distance. That's really not off much. Maybe a little, yeah. But I think we can mostly fix that just by adding more darks. So let's look at our mixture here. So it's basically the red. And this is dried. So I'm just adding a little water to it. So it's pretty strong, because I didn't have to add much water. Let's put a little blue over in this, and might use a little of the Quin Gold over here too. I think I want a little more blue in it. In fact, I think that later we're going to need a little bit more blue in general, so I'm going to go ahead and pick some up. So maybe it can be reducing back down a little bit. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that's got enough blue in it, and I think that'll work pretty much. Well, I'll tell you what, this brush may have not been loaded with really this color because I had mixed some other in it. So let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm going to be good with that. So I'm actually going to use a smaller brush. I've got two sizes here. By the way, even though you see a silver handle on this, this is one of your black velvets. It was just sold by Daniel Smith under their name, but it's a black velvet. It doesn't have as good a point on it, but it should work. So let's take some of this, and I don't know that you can see my pencil lines. The major thing is that I can see them, because quite frankly, I got pretty far off on this. Now, one of the things, again, this is not going to be this dark when it dries. Here's a shadow on the side of the head that's also going to connect with the hair. And it just so happens there's a tiny little rim of dark coming over this ear. The hair comes out to there. And that little bit of dark in there. There's a little bit of dark in here. That looks a little harsh right now, but I think by the time it dries, it'll be about right. I'm going to soften this edge here because I don't want a noticeable edge, and I can't do everything at once. Do I think that's too dark? I don't know. I'm going to just blot it a little bit. Now you know that, again, we're not making soft edges on this. Some people have sent me pictures that looks like they softened a thing or two because they were kind of shooting for a whole portrait. I really don't want you to do that right now. What I really want you to do is just study the shapes and the way that the values change. And there's a little bit of shadow on the earlobe. That may be getting a little too thinned out. I added water. I may have added too much. Will be, you know, it'll be kind of like it. Okay, and here, right there's a little connection. I didn't paint that. So, we definitely want this dark to run into the dark of the clothing. And you'll notice I don't have light areas on the clothing like here. I just simply disregarded it because I was lazy. If you want to practice doing the clothing, that's fine. I'm just not excited about that part. Now, right along the edge, between the really dark clothing and the side of the head, there's a little transition area, see there, that's really dark. Oh, okay. So we got to come across the chin here. Okay. It's beginning to look a little more, you know, human. Right here on the nose, there's a little spot right there. I think this is all on the camera. Let me look. Oh yeah, we're good. There's a little area right here. A bit of an area there. Not much of one. Okay. If you get it too little, you can always go back and add to it. Here at the corner of the mouth, it tips down just a little bit. My drawing wasn't too good there, though. So there's not a whole lot of areas here on the mustache. Now there's some light areas that I didn't leave a place for. And then the mustache itself is casting a shadow on the lower lip, so it's an irregular looking shadow. Doo-doo-doo. All right, let's see. Now up here, let's go back up here. Remember, here's where we made the soft edge. It really does help that I drew it with a pencil. I was just getting a little too fast, not spend enough time thinking before I painted, because I do that on demos. I just tend to lose focus. So here, and this ear is in shadow, but there is a light area on it. So let me adjust my glasses here. There we go. I can't see when my glasses slide off the end of my nose. Okay, now we have, let's work on the darks on the eyes, and I'm going to a smaller brush here. See, he looks human, you know. And that's all this is. This is about looking at those values and the shapes in the face and seeing what's going on as more of a shape rather than getting caught up in it's an eye or a nose or whatever. There are shadow shapes that are not just an eye and a nose. Here's the skin out from the eye. It's actually below the eye. And here's an area. There. And let's combine that with the pupil. You see, now the light area of the eye shows. So this makes him now looking more in the right direction. It's got a pretty strong shadow under this eye. It extends on out a ways. And then there is more shadow out in here. Well, this goes further than that. Okay, this goes out. And then this comes down and... oh, there's just a spot or two. I left one place there under the eye too light. Put a couple of lashes down there. And there's a little bit of shadow coming down this way. And then there is the iris of the eye. Okay, we've got a few little dark areas here. You don't make just a bunch of lines. That's one of the things I'm trying to get you to avoid, is starting to depend on a bunch of little scratchy lines, because that gets you into trouble. It really does. See, there's a highlight area there that I left off. I'm not even going to try to fix it. You see his face come together. Now all we're going to do is add one other little bit of dark. And I think that some of this is a little too dark. I may have gotten down there too concentrated. I'm just going to dampen it and pull up a little bit more, because we've got to have room for an even darker area. If I go too dark, then the even darker won't count. Right there's a little too dark too. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go dry him. That got a little wide there, but it's okay. I'm gonna go dry him, and then we're gonna put in the darkest darks. Oh, wait, the hand. He has a hand. Because this hand really doesn't count. It's lighter. Except for this little gizmo area right there. Okay, we got that. And then down here, well, I guess I should draw this. Down here, we've got a little area like that, and like that. Swings around here, comes up, almost looks squared off here. This one's a little lower than that one. See, it comes further down on his hand. Back up here. And then you have a little bit of an odd place here. Like that and that. And, well, there is a little bit of it on this finger. There's not much. Okay, let's paint that in. It looks just a little too dark. There. Okay, now like that. Spot or a little bit of something going on right here. Not much of anything. And then it bleeds into whatever's down here that I didn't paint. Okay, so I'm going to dry this, and we're going to do one more layer on the face, and then we're going to be ready to start the real painting, which this time we're not going to use green. So you have to try this. Well, I got back from this and realized the chin was sort of jumping out at me. You see, this value was supposed to be the same as this, but I just got the wash a little bit lighter as it came down, and it makes his chin look too prominent. So I'm going to add a real thin wash. Just reddish something right over this area. And then I'm just going to fade it out, going up this way. There. Now I got to dry that. Okay, I've got a place on the neck here that I want to be real careful. See, here's the real dark right here. I want to be careful that I get that and leave a lighter area right there. Because the edge of my pencil line shows here, it almost looks like he's got a sideburn there. Okay, so I guess I'll use a small brush, and we're going to use this mixture over here that's sort of a blue-black. I think that that will be strong enough. Remember, it's a cumulative too, because it is going on top of these already dark colors. So let's look up here on the eyebrow area. There's definitely a darker edge there, and there's a little darker edge along here. I'm tempted to modify this a little bit. Then we've got something like this, and coming over, kind of, it's a little raggedy there, something like that. I think we could go ahead and, oops, I have to get my glasses in position again. Is this, yeah, this is in the right place. Okay. Let's add a little, whoop. Well, that wasn't quite what I had in mind, but it'll do. Okay. There. Okay. Now, what do we have? We have an area here that does something like this. And a little something there, and then we come along, and here's this deal that swings down this way and then down. But it's not a line, it's a shape, so you've got to fill in. Part of it's thicker, part of it's thinner. There we go. Trim into that a little bit if you wanted to. Let's see, is there any of this on the mouth? Oh, there is. So, it needs to be littler than the other area, so you still want some of the other area to show plain. Here, right up here is, oh yeah, so this comes into the eyebrow. And it's a little shadow right there on top of the ear too. Head. Y'all see anything I've missed? I probably missed a lot. Is there anything down here on these hands? There's really not. Possibly there's an area here. I think that finger's kind of, you know, that dark there is really shadow on the finger. That's finger right there, I think. We'll let it go though. Maybe we'll put a dot or something there, just because. Okay, so that's him, or that's his face. You get the general idea of how we're seeing this. And you see that everything's got a hard edge on it. I really want you to work with this and do this with hard edges. Don't blend it all out and stuff. First of all, I want you working wet enough. I want you working so wet, you know, that all this blends and you can just work with it, but you're not feathering edges or something. And I want you to see the jump in values and appreciate what it does for the face to have this. And quite frankly, you can make us older people look a little younger that way too. It's sort of, yeah, pleasant. Okay, so the next video will be a good beginning on him. And we're going to work with blues rather than greens. I think that this will work out better for most of you. Green was driving people nuts. Okay, I keep forgetting to do this. So this is just putting him so you can see him at the correct angle. And that's what he looks like. Yeah, so that's it.